I'm here with Miss Amanda Laden from Wayzata High School. She is a science teacher who teaches AP Biology and Anatomy, and also a class called Honors Mentor Connection, where we all do a bunch of research projects with other mentors outside of Wayzata High School and write papers about them. So yeah, how are you today?
I'm doing great, thanks, Sarah.
Yeah. So today we're just going to be going over a few questions about success in general, especially the road to success. So yeah, could you first give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I am a teacher at Wayzata High School. And I have been here for, let's see, how many years has it been? 17 years.
Wow.
I've been teaching for 23. And yeah, I have a husband and a son and a stepdaughter. And so my son is in 6th grade and my stepdaughter is 26 years old.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that's a big age difference.
It is.
Yeah, so the first question that we're going to really go over about success is related to someone else. So who do you think inspires you and why do you think they inspire you?
That's a really good question. I have to say that I grew up in an environment where we would visit my grandmother very, very frequently. And my grandmother is the type of person who, she was always very loving and kind of that unconditional love where pretty much no matter who entered her life, she really embraced them and accepted them for who they were and always was very warm. And I think that really inspired me to want to, at least, I don't know if I've ever gotten to the point that she has, but I aspire to be a warm person who everyone feels comfortable and welcoming around. Because I found that just inspiring that everyone can, everyone can be accepted and has value.
Wow, that's really heartwarming.
Yeah.
And then on a more professional level, I guess, who would you say inspires you to work?
Yeah, so in the context of teaching, I'm inspired by those who can really connect with students well and build up those meaningful relationships. It's kind of similar, right? And so being able to find value in anyone. And so someone here I teach with, her name is Grace Lephart. I'm very much inspired by her because I think that she has this ability to, again, take anyone who they are and just say, okay, what are your qualities? What are your strengths? And how can we build on that? And she takes the time to get to know them. And so I try to do the same. Because I just find that really inspiring. And I do find that it's just a way to connect with people. We're all humans. We all have experiences in life that there's some similarities, some differences. So try to take anyone for who they are, learn about them, find out about those things. And I think that that's one thing that she does really well. And it's kind of gotten me to that point of recognizing that in students in my own classroom and saying, well, every single one has something to offer. And in many ways, to be honest, once you kind of recognize that, I find that you feel inspired by those you work with. Yeah. So whether it's the students I work with on research projects and I see kind of their incredible ability to, I don't know, understand their field so well and really show drive and passion for what they're doing. I'm, and to be honest, inspired by that. I'm also inspired by students who have this ability to connect with others and just really kind of they've got street smart skills, and things like that. And so I think no matter who you have in front of you, just recognize that there are certain things about people. Everyone has that certain something that makes them unique and can be valued. And so I am inspired by people who see that. And I find that in my students as well. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're inspired by everyone around you, actually.
Really, to be honest, I think that's one thing that I think makes this so fun working in an environment with people is that you do kind of, you're excited by everyone because they all have something to offer and show you the world through a different, viewpoint or perspective.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then for our last topic of discussion here, on your road to where you are today, a teacher of biology and anatomy and even HMC, what do you think was the biggest challenge that you faced, like the biggest hurdle that you've jumped over? And how did you overcome that challenge?
That's a good question too. So when I was younger, I was about in middle school and I was really starting to suffer from depression. And so I think for me, the depression I experienced was due to both situational things that were going on in my life, my parents getting divorced, financial difficulties in the home.
Oh yeah.
But also it was also a chemical imbalance in my brain.
Sure.
And those two things coupled together made it really tough for me. And I actually was in pretty bad shape. And in 8th grade, I ended up being hospitalized.
Oh.
And so I was in in and out actually a couple of times because of how severe it was. And that was kind of a moment in my life where I thought, I can't imagine a future. And I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to live past the year 2000. Now, why I picked that year, I have no idea. But I just knew in my mind, I knew that the world and my outlook was so negative. There was no way that I was going to make it through. And that kind of despair is kind of hard to imagine, I think, for some, but also there are others who kind of understand it. It's something that you just, for me, my brain just took over. And even though I didn't want to feel that way, it was something I absolutely couldn't pull myself out of.
Yeah.
So for me, through treatment, getting help from being hospitalized, and then also being put on some antidepressants, which was helpful, and then a lot of therapy, and finding things that would help counteract some of the situational things I was going through and the biochemical things I was experiencing, really helped to pull me out of that fog, which it took a long time. It wasn't easy. It was years through high school. I still suffered a bit through college, but I started to gain some skills of how to manage when my mind was having thoughts I didn't want to head that direction. I could identify it and start to change it.
Yeah.
Because of the chemical help and the therapeutic help of talking to a person, and also learning that my body responds well to things like exercise and taking good care of myself. That, even though it was impossible to do, I did it anyway.
Wow.
And so I think that that's one thing that I really was able to overcome it because I had the resources to help me get through it. And what's tough about that is it's sometimes hard to reach out and to get that help. But if you do, it's amazing how things change, because I haven't suffered that way since probably my very early 20s. And
Wow.
so it's amazing how, like, just kind of changes, again, chemistry changes, whatever. It just, you can get through some of these difficult things. It takes an incredible amount of strength and hopefully a lot of support from people who care about you. But luckily I was able to get through it.
So for our listeners who might have certain mental health problems in their own lives, what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd have for them?
You know, I found for me, what I was able to do was to tell people that I was struggling. I was able to tell people. I told my family, I told my friends, and then help came to me because it was so difficult to do anything other than just say, you know, I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
So I think that the more you can share your experience with someone else, the more you're going to have a possibility of being able to get some help like that. So talking, you know, being able to verbalize, tell someone I'm struggling. Those are the kinds of things that for me helped me get through it. Yeah.
So even though like it might feel like being vulnerable, it really helps in the end.
Yeah. And find a safe person. I mean, think about who can you talk to? Who can you say something to? And if you do and you don't get anywhere, try again. You know, it's hard, but it is definitely worth it, because once you can get past what's causing that, it's amazing on the other side, you know?
Sure.
So, yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this interview. Miss Laden has so many interesting stories to tell about her successful life, and it's truly inspirational to hear those stories. Miss Laden's story shows that even if we struggle, it's always possible to pick ourselves back up and keep pursuing and attaining our dreams. Please do share this video with others who you think might need it to do a small part in inspiring them as well. It only takes a few clicks of your mouse to maybe make a difference in their lives. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep reaching to the stars.